Hey everyone, my name is Griffin MacDonald, and this is the advantages of Bitcoin. So, as you can see, 11 years ago, this guy by the name of Da Vinci Jeremy, he did his research on crypto back then when nobody was really involved with it or really knew what it was. And he made a YouTube video just explaining how you should just buy $1 worth of Bitcoin and how you could make a lot of money from it and whatnot. And you can see he's filthy rich now, as Bitcoin's price today is 135 grand per Bitcoin. Jeremy is living a lavish life of being on a yacht. You can see he's got his fancy sunglasses and he's got got a champagne glass in his hand. And yeah, some insights of Bitcoin and facts. Bitcoin was created as a peer-to-peer form of electronic cash without a middleman involved that profits off the transactions of the consumer. So if you were to e-transfer or even use your credit card, your bank is making money off those transactions. So the founders were just trying to eliminate that middleman factor. The founders of Bitcoin is unclear, but a lot of people speculate Satoshi Nakamoto is one of them. But they also speculate other people were involved, but they're not quite sure who. Bitcoin wasn't always full of just positives. It did have its share of cons, as Bitcoin allowed you to make transactions without having your identity attached to it, like how a credit card does. So because in a credit card you have your name attached to it, you have your address. But so criminals took advantage of this, so they could sell stolen items on the dark web, many other things you can imagine. And since Bitcoin's basically anonymous, there's no they could sell whatever and it does not go back to them. It just goes back to a random address of whatever. Bitcoin also made it easier to launder money, which caused some bans in countries, just some outright bans. I think China banned it as soon as they saw this was becoming a problem. The United States were the first to just overcome this obstacle, so they just tightened laws for businesses, so they have to report their earnings in much more detail now. So why is Bitcoin important? Most people's end goal is to be able to retire, or just retire early in general, or just retire in general. Everyone has their own ideas of what they like to be doing during their retirement life. Mine is to travel. There's a whole world out there, and most of us don't even get the time or have the funds to just go and explore it. And I believe everyone should have a time period in their life where it's about doing what they want to do every day and not going to work 24/7. That's what I think. I think people deserve to do what they love. And I believe Bitcoin is an opportunity for everybody to be able to do that, to achieve retirement or retire early, just in general. By ignoring this presentation or not taking it seriously, I just think you're just going down the wrong road. There's a sign that says easy money pointing one way, and if you're not with this, you're just walking it on the opposite direction of that easy money sign. And who doesn't love easy money? Before I talk about Bitcoin, I just wanted to describe these power laws. So a power law is a relationship between two values following in a straight line or an exponential line on a graph. It's usually involving time and one other value. Some call these the laws of the universe. And that's because these power laws never fall out of this pattern. They're constantly going up, showing no signs of slowing down. Some examples of a power law would be the human population growth over time, Like we all know that. Like we're just getting like this earth is just being more and more populated. Like I remember being a kid, it was like 6.7 billion. I think we're at 8, almost 9 billion now. So yeah, that number is just going up in basically a straight line. Another example would be infrastructure of large cities over time, and that's an easy one to describe too. Like look at Toronto 100 years ago, how small it was and how many dirt roads, and like everything was just small, and then looking at it now, it's just huge. Like there's the whole GTA. There's millions of people living down there now. Like it's just expanding and expanding. Um, and as if you may have guessed, Bitcoin is also following this power law phenomenon. But what does this mean, and how can we take advantage of it? How can we achieve this dollar cost average? The most efficient way of trading Bitcoin is DCA. That's dollar cost average. And once you have a little experience in reading crypto charts and understanding when like the bull run cycles happen, that's when you could load all your money into the lows, right? And then you sell at the highs. And that's what you call a dollar cost average. And Bitcoin has a huge cult-like following, watching its movement every day. So you could just go online, like you could go on social media and see what the experts are saying. Like you don't really have to do the research yourself. Like you could just go off of other people's word, and you could make your trades off of that. So yeah. An easier but less effective method. Let's say like you don't have the time to be watching charts or doing the research and like knowing when to sell. Well, it's the solution to that is just invest small amounts monthly or bi-weekly. Let's say you invested 5% of your paycheck for the next 40 years. I could say wholeheartedly that that money in that account, when you're ready to withdraw, when you want to retire and just do whatever you want, that number is most likely going to be in the millions. And the end result of following these steps is just do whatever you want, financial freedom. Like you could be golfing in Switzerland, it looks like, or you could be walking on the coast of Newfoundland, traveling, do whatever you want. My call to action is to you. The earlier you start investing, the more money you will have later. It's that simple. Like there's not much other to it than that. There's many trading platforms you can use, like you can pick from. I use Wealthsimple. It's just my opinion. Getting started, like I suggest, like if you just want to get familiar with it, just invest small amounts and just see how the trading platform you want to use works, or just see how Bitcoin works in general. Like you'll see, like Bitcoin, like we talked about the power laws earlier. Like yes, Bitcoin is following a power law, but it does have retracements. It does come back, and you'll get to see that. But Bitcoin, it will always come back. Like if it retraces down 5%, it'll come back up 10%, and it's not going to happen within a week time frame per se, but it does. It will happen over a large amount of time, and the more you delay on this, like the more money you're losing out on. It's that simple, and that is the end of my presentation.